Two. I'd like to call to order the March 26, 2024 meeting of the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board. Roll call.
Earbone,
Yes?
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
All right, hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the meeting minutes from the February 27th meeting. I will, if you have no concerns, questions, or comments, we can entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion?
Second.
LaPointe, Holman, roll call.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Staff will stand to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. All right, thank you much. All right, Madam Clerk, first case.
First two agenda items will be announced together as they are properties adjacent to each other and owned by the same property owner. Agenda item 2024-10 is a appeal for zoning compliance, case number 2024-1203 for citation number 2024-2289 with a citation fine in the amount of $400. The property is located at 308 Old Scottsville Road. Agenda item 2024-11, also an appeal for zoning compliance, case number 2024-1204 for the citation of number 2024-2290 with a citation fine in the amount of $200. The property location for this case is 384 Old Scottsville Road. The owner is Philip and Corinna Jaggers. I believe Mr. Matt Baker, their attorney, is present in the audience to address the board, and James Hetty will present both cases.
Good evening. Yeah, we received complaints reference to CMF Roofing installing a permanent wooden sign was the first complaint out on Old Scottsville Road. I received quite a few complaints actually from people that travel that road reference to a roofing company. I did, as you'll see in the photos, Brad, can you go back to the first one? There's a sign that was in the front yard of 308 Old Scottsville Road and had the CMS. There were some other little signs that were present also. Upon inspection and review, there was no site permits or no sign permit, and no permit application for a resident converted to commercial use. Also, when looking at the properties, 384 Old Scottsville Road, you can look on the left-hand side shows GIS, it's aerial photo 2021, and you'll see there's no, it looks like a site prep for a building, and then 2023 there's a additional addition to that building. Upon inspection and review, there was no site work or building permit application found. They do have a website, CMS Roofing. On that website, as you'll see, they've got their address, 384 Old Scottsville Road. Also, the hours that they're open and the contact information reference to that. And so, notice of violations were delivered in December. Citations were delivered in February, and to this date, today, I checked with our plan reviewers, and there hasn't been any site work or permit application or any kind of building applications submitted for either 308 or the 384 Old Scottsville Road properties.
Mr. Baker? All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Chairman and members of the board, I was retained just a short period of time ago to address the complaints that have been issued. It's my understanding that Mr. Jaggers is the owner of the property. It consists of approximately 23 acres total on both sides of the road. I don't think there's any question but that the sign that's depicted in the photographs that you've seen was placed there. I believe it's been removed. I don't know if Mr. Hetty can confirm that or not, but I'm informed that it's been removed. The property does have a residence on it along with a barn, and Mr. Jaggers has told me that he does have a boat and some personal vehicles stored on the property, but there is no roofing equipment, there's no heavy equipment, there's no indicia of a business going on there, nor would there be any customers coming and going. So he certainly wants to be in compliance and do everything that is necessary to get back into compliance, and he will be separately represented by a different attorney with regard to any rezoning issues that might be forthcoming in the future. I won't be representing him on those, but he tells me that those are in the pipeline.
Why is there a open sign asking people to come in if you're saying that customers aren't coming in?
Sign is the first time I've seen that.
In one of the photos they just showed us.
Yeah.
Mr. Hetty, can you confirm that that sign was taken down?
I didn't see the sign. I was passing by the other day, and I don't know what day it was. The posts were still there. The sign looked like it was removed, the sign face. However, in the window, there was, and I should have stopped and took pictures probably, but there was, just as that says open, there was like a
Yard sign?
clock like looking. As I drove by on Old Scotts Road, I glanced over it. So I don't know if it was about lunchtime and it had changed, but they did have what appeared to be a sign in the window.
And is Mr. Jaggers, is he actually associated with the roofing company, or
I believe that is his company, yes.
where is that company located?
I don't want to say anything that would be misconstrued or misleading. I don't know the answer to that. I know that he owns the property in question. I know that that's his company. But other than that, I'm sorry I can't answer that. He's been called away to be out of town, and I don't want to tell you something that isn't so.
Well, if I can answer this either. If I was on the phone and need a roofing company and I'd call him to come give me a quote, that company to give me a quote, would that call go to this location?
Go to, I think, 784-4757, but I don't know where, I don't know if that's a landline or a cell. That's the number that I have for him anyway.
And you had said that he plans on trying to rezone something. Is that correct?
Yes, according to his appeal, and I know that you have this in front of you, but he says, I am applying to rezone my property to office professional, as well as obtain any site work permits that may be required for any improvements or modifications to be made to the property. So I know that that's his plan, but I don't know that he's going to be able to, whether or not that succeeds or not will be a story for another day.
James got, I've reviewed this stuff obviously before we came. This one confuses me a little bit because we've got two different addresses and two different issues. The house, is that I assume that's the one that needs to be rezoned if he wants to convert that residential use to a commercial use.
Both houses, the properties are right beside each other. As you can see on their website, they've got the 384 Old Scottsville Road address and their office hours, but the 308 was a residential that had the sign in the front, and that's the one that has the active open and whatever sign in the window. So they're right beside each other, but they're two separate parcels.
I may add something on the rezoning. So if you leave this up, Brad, sorry, the aerial view, when we reviewed the historic aerials, if you zoom in further than this view here, you can actually see, I forget which year it was, where there were CMS trucks. Like you can actually read CMS on the hood of one of the cars. There are ladders, and you can see the trailers for the roofing company. So while they may be storing boats and personal things in this building, the aerial view would seem to indicate that there's also business activity going on this property as well. That one's 2023.
I'll make a motion to uphold both citations and fines in the amount of $600.
Second.
Point, Holman, roll call.
Beerbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Thank you. He'll have to pay, he'll still get the citation and have to pay the fines for both, so. Thank you, sir.
See you.
You too, take care. All right. Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2024-12 is an appeal for zoning compliance, case number 2024-1205. The citation 2024-2291 has a citation fine in the amount of $200. The property is located at 620 Clay Street. The owner is BGKY Rail LLC, and the respondent, Mr. Eddie Hanks, is in the audience prepared to speak to the board. And James will present the case.
Thank you. Beginning of the year, back in January, I did get a complaint on this property, reference to the tall mound of trash and inadequate screening. Upon inspection and review, it was determined they'd need a conditional use permit and proper screening. I did deliver a notice of violation letter, upon which we did receive a ticket for recycling that was dated, I believe, May 2023. However, through the aerial photos and the review, we were asking for other documentations of a more any other tickets prior to the May of 2023. Did not receive any. Upon reinspection after the notice of violation, it's still, the screening was inadequate. Therefore, a citation was issued. Upon receiving the citation, we received some receipt tickets, and I can't find, the dates were November of 2021. So therefore, we could determine that the legal nonconformity, which is the grandfathering, is greater than the 18 months there that was absent for what we were looking at. So the use was permitted, therefore they wouldn't need a conditional use permit. However, they still had inadequate screening. As you go through, let's see, that one shows January the 8th, 2024, and that's what on the left is what the property looked like. And you look at Street View, September 2023, and it's vacant of any recycling that's over at the screening. There's a March 19th, 2024 that shows the recycling. You can see that's from West Main Street. And that one's November or October. That one actually was November 2022 Street View, and it shows a lack of any recycling over the screening. The next one was January the 8th photo, and that's from a Clay Street view, and you'll see the mound of recycling. In the October 2022 street view shows a lack of recycling, and it had adequate screening. And then go to that last one. All right, that one's the March 19th, 2024. And this is looking from Adams Street, and you'll see the recycling. You can clearly see above the screening. And if you look at March 2021, there's a lack of any recycling above that screening. So there was 30 months there that we could see through Street View and through the photos that the recycling wasn't over the screening. Now, as of probably, when was that last? May have been Friday. All right, I got it in my notes here. Mr. Hanks had stopped in and talked to some of our staff, and he was going to, level some of the recycling, but also put up some screening. So I went by today, and as of today, there's probably 2 more rows of block that's been laid on the Adams side, and the recycling may be visible a foot above, but it's a lot better than what it looks like. And I wish I had photos right here to show you, but this weekend, pretty much some screening has been applied to the property. It's still out of compliance. However, talking to Mr. Eddie Hanks earlier today, he's ordered 45 more concrete blocks to place along the Adams Street, but also along the railroad part where you can see from the West Main Street, and also some from the Clay Street side where it would hopefully shield the screen the recycling a little better. But as of right now, it's still out of compliance, but I feel we're moving towards compliance. So just an update on that part of it.
How high can he go with those blocks?
Where it covers what's screened behind there, so I don't know, to tell you the truth. There's probably,
I didn't know
it's
if you
probably
could-
5 high, maybe now, on that side. And I'm no engineer, and they look pretty substantial. They're big blocks, and I'd say they probably lock in, but I couldn't tell you how high you could go up with them. But for screening purposes, it just needs not be seen from the sides. So it keeps them down below the blocks, then would be good. But even if he goes up higher, if their cycling is above that and it's not screening adequately, then he's still out of compliance.
That photo shows what, 2 high, is that correct? Or is it
That's
3?
probably, there might be, that railroad's elevated a little bit. It might drop down. There might be actually,
You're saying he's added 2 since this photo?
definitely 2. There might be a third row. Brad, can we go back to the first photo? That was, it might be a closer up. Now they're all pretty much that railroad. You can't really tell if there's another block that it starts. But I think I can see some grass through there, so that might be just the 2 blocks.
Like that last one that one right here, you can see a third one.
Okay.
So there's at least 3 right there.
Yeah.
I should know about ask anyway. I guess the general rule is, as long as you can see just a little bit above the fence, we're okay. I mean, nobody's going to be, it should be none, but as long as you're a little bit, that's okay. But is this something that's going to fluctuate on a daily basis? This is a pretty, with 3 blocks here, and it looks like it's about 7, 8 blocks above these blocks. Yeah, at least. Any idea how, and maybe Mr. Hanks can ask that question, how long it took to get to that height? Is this something that's on a daily basis, or does it come and go? Because that's a lot of blocks to cover all that.
I can say since I've been watching it from beginning of January, whenever the first time was, I went out there, January the 8th. There's been a mound there pretty much the whole time. So it may have fluctuated a little bit, but there's always been a mound I could see personally from any of those places, the Clay, West Main, Adams Street. Sometimes there's automobiles, so it's pretty substantial, good size. I mean, the cars look kind of small within that. So I don't know how low it'll get different times, so I don't know.
The reason why I ask, if you go back to that other photo, at some point, we got to stop building high, because if for whatever reason, even though it does look like it's pretty stable in this photo, the higher you go, the less that's going to get. And if it ever was to fall, it would probably cover that train track, correct? It's hard to tell how far.
Yeah, there's some distance there. Brad, can you go to one of those that from the west main? I'm actually driving across the tracks, and you might be able to see kind of the distance-wise. It's hard to tell.
I guess my question to you is, when is it enough? When do we tell him to stop building? It's great that he's trying to get in compliance. I'm just curious. When do you stop building up?
It's flattened out. It's not in the peak, so I don't know if it's flattened out some here since this weekend.
Are you gonna monitor there has to be a
Sure.
agreement on when you stop, I guess.
Let me add one thing. I think, are you all asking if there's a maximum height that's allowed
That's
by
what
the
I'm asking.
ordinance? Okay.
Correct.
I'll look that up. I'm trying to go from memory. I don't know that there is, but I'm going to look. And then the other suggestion that I'm just sitting here thinking of, I know that the city, there's a fence permit, or we would consider this a fence or like a wall if you were worried about the integrity of what's there and if it could fall. Is that, Brad, is that something that city staff could review for like structural?
Potentially. So under 7 feet, it would be a no-fee fence permit. Anything over 7 foot would be a fee fence permit. With it not being a dwelling and it not being permanently mounted into the ground, and it's just blocks stacked on top of each other, I mean, we could certainly structurally review it under more or less a site work permit. I just don't know if they would issue a fence permit for it because it doesn't have footers. I mean, that's kind of what they look for in a fence permit. So otherwise, if they got structural engineering drawings because it got to a certain height, like if it's an 11-foot tall fence, we would need engineered drawings. But it's not a fence, it's a wall. So, I mean, I can certainly check with Scott and Donnie and get a better answer.
Just thinking in the future, we may have an issue, you know, you keep building up, you don't see it anymore, but it becomes a danger too.
Tricky part is if you're building a retaining wall in landscaping and you're just stacking block on top of block, that doesn't need a permit because it's just stacking blocks, right? So it's hard to differentiate this between that. While I certainly don't disagree with, you know, the structural integrity concerns, I just don't know if there's a specific permit for it or if we would just kind of do a courtesy review or required engineer drawings or something, but I can find out.
I'm going to pull up the ordinance on my phone and get a final answer on if there's a maximum height, but I don't think that there is. I'll check.
So, Mr. Hetty, I take it from your closing remarks that you feel confident it's going to be remedied, is that right?
I'm optimistic that it is. It was 45 blocks coming, but I don't know how far the 45 blocks, I mean, there's quite a few blocks there. So in my mind, there's some that needs to be on the Clay Street side because the gates are open. You can look in there and it's to help screen instead of along the fence part. It'll take a number of different ones right here. When you're viewing that from this angle, unfortunately that railroad kind of goes up and then back down a little bit. But yeah, you can see from this angle, the Clay Street angle, the gates are open and you can clearly see that recycling. So I'm optimistic. I'm hoping it will, but I don't know how much 45 blocks would screen more. We could probably count a few there and think, well, another row, how many would that be?
Mr. Hanks, do you want to come up and, you're welcome to come on? Well, go right ahead, then I'll let you come up.
Quick, I did verify there's no height limit for the fence.
Thanks. If you want to come on up, swear you in. Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Well,
All right, if you give us your name and
thank
you
you.
go
My
from
name's Eddie Hanks. So thank you for the opportunity to come review this. Just a quick note on some of the photos, if I may say that operationally and procedure-wise, we've changed that. Again, I didn't know that the heights was an issue prior to this. So certainly our operators know now that they can keep that level down. It's not trash. It is a scrap recycling. We're recycling and keeping the earth clean by taking old used metal, aluminum scrap, et cetera, and sending it to a shredder so that it's reused again. So we're keeping that out of landfills. The photos from 21, 22, 23, I've only owned this. My wife and I have only owned this for about 4 months. We opened 12/4 of 23, and we did have a law firm review the prior operating conditional use permit to make sure there was no void in that status, so that we would not have bought it had there not been. So, but anyway, we did open 12/4. We have gone in, there were trees growing up through the fences, bushes, shrubs, homeless people. Someone went in and damaged a baler that's costing $135,000 to review. we worked actively to eliminate a camp right beside this on the CSX side where CSX police came in and assisted. So we're investing in the community, investing in this area to make it a nice business, and certainly we want to be good neighbors. Operationally, again, we're going to add more blocks to that for the site, the view. Can't guarantee we can get if you look through the gate, that you don't see things operationally. It's just there's some things we can. But we're going to do that. I spoke to Mr. Hetty, and I think we've agreed on a plan of where we're going to take those blocks and try to block that view from it. So I have done business down there when Mr. Bradford owned it. In 1993 is the first ticket I had doing business there. And historically, it's been that high or a lot when they were loading rail cars. But we're going to do our best. I just ask that you appeal these fines with the conditional use. We obviously have. Somehow our conditional use ticket that I emailed to my representative on January 22nd didn't make it here. And then we've addressed the screening. So ask for your consideration that we're in compliance and or headed there if there's a little slight difference on that. And any questions for me?
Make sure that, I understand that you're going to try to, you've instructed your people now when they get new stuff coming in, what to do with it. Is it also possible that, and may I missed what you said, is it possible to actually reduce that height by moving it, scaring it around a little more?
It is reduced now, and again, I wish we had a photo of it up now, but we don't. But it is now just very close to the top of the block level. It may be, as he said, you can see it a little bit from the top, but we know to keep that as low as possible, as opposed to what they were doing now is they were trying to maximize their space and maximize traffic area.
About how long does, like, I guess the process of it goes up and comes back down, about how long would you say that?
Well, if you get in 68 customers and 20 of those are dump trucks or roll-off trucks, it can come in pretty quick. But it's also going out every single day. So we're moving it out as quick as it's moving in is our objective.
Any other questions? All right, we can entertain a motion if no more questions.
How about I make a motion to uphold the citation but dismiss the fine in the amount of $200?
Second. Holman, Dearborn. Roll call?
Dearborn,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that motion.
So we upheld the citation, but you don't have to pay the fine. Since you and Mr. Hetty are working on a plan to
Okay.
get everything in
Okay.
order, so
Thank you all.
thank you. All right, Madam Clerk.
That's what all I could think about was these concrete blocks, and then I look up and, yeah. I didn't realize you could get blocked that big.
Agenda item 2024-13 is a appeal for a citation for animal protection, case number 2024-1475. The citation of 2024-2676 has a citation fine in the amount of $355.04. The property is located at 720 Fernhill Street. The owner of the animal is Wayne and Vanetta Baird, and respondents are present to address the board. Brad Shargorotsky will present the case.
On September 11th of 2023, Officer Jay Teague of the Bowling Green Police Department responded to a dog attack at 729 Denali Street. He issued Kentucky Uniform Citation EK 41500 for city ordinance violations of vicious or dangerous animals and animal nuisances prohibited. On September 28th, 2023, Officer Irvin of the Bowling Green Police Department responded to a dog attack at 726 Fernhill Street. He issued Kentucky Uniform Citation EK 21436 for city ordinance violations of vicious or dangerous animals, animal nuisances prohibited, including trespassing, damaging personal property, frightening citizens, chasing domesticated animals, and running at large. City ordinance violations relating to animals are not often issued on Kentucky uniform citations to court, but may be if circumstances warrant. In this situation, the county attorney's office has declined to prosecute and instead has sent the case back to the city to issue an ordinance citation. So on March 1st of this year, I issued city ordinance citation listing the information from the Kentucky uniform citations listed above and mailed it first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. I also hand-delivered the citation to Mr. Baird explaining why the citation was being issued and his requirements for keeping the dog muzzled or in a secure enclosure, and that the dog cannot be loose outside without meeting these requirements. The compliance date listed on that citation was March 11th of this year, and the violations listed on the citation were trespassing, property damage, frightening or molesting, chasing domesticated animals, running at large in public, vicious or dangerous animals, and vicious or dangerous animals enclosures. On the screen here is the ordinance showing the definition of vicious or dangerous animal, which shall mean any animal that attacks, bites, or physically injures human beings, domestic animals, or livestock without adequate provocation. Any animal that without provocation has attacked a human being or other animal shall be presumed vicious or dangerous for the purposes of this chapter, and it shall not apply to dogs used by law enforcement officers in the performance of their duties. Once an animal or property has been cited for that definition, the following requirements apply here on the screen that I can go through if anyone on the board would like me to. I would defer any other testimony to Officer Irvin, who is here. Officer Teague is not present. And additionally, one of the dog owners that was killed in one of these attacks is also present to give testimony.
Officer Teague?
This is Officer Irvin.
Officer Irving, I apologize.
Sir,
Go right ahead. Do I need to swear him in, or is he already good?
In at the
He was
start.
at the beginning? Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Go right ahead.
Citation? Okay. Brief synopsis, sir, of what occurred on the September 28th was I was dispatched to the 700 block of Fern Hill between the hours of 1600 and 1700 hours, which is, I guess, 4 and 5 o'clock p.m. for civilian time. When I responded, the address was 726 Fern Hill for the complaint of a vicious dog that had attacked another dog in that front yard. During the investigation, I discovered that the vicious dog had already returned back to his residence at 720 Fern Hill. That's where the Bears reside. And that a delivery driver was delivering an order to 726 and had a service animal, which was a little Yorkie, that was attacked by a gray pit bull. The pit bull was identified by the name of Zeus, and it was deemed to be, I guess, owned by the Bears. And the complainant just basically said that when she got out of the car, her dog got out with her, and that the pit bull attacked her Yorkie, grabbed it by the neck, and by the time she got to the dog was deceased. I made contact with the Bears, and they made, I guess, accommodations to get the dog away from the residence. Law enforcement did not seize the dog. I think it went to a relative's house that same evening before we left the scene.
Brad, any idea why the county attorney's office, did they explain why they didn't want to prosecute?
So in general practice, the county attorney will prosecute under KRS if a dog attacks a human and causes injury. Normally, dog-on-dog attacks would come through animal control, and we would issue the citation. I'm not sure if during this time period we didn't have adequate staffing or for some reason we weren't able to respond. So at that point, the officers responded from the police department, and they handled it the best way they could because they don't have any way of writing a city ordinance. So their way of doing that is to write it on one of these uniform citations, and it just finally kind of made its way back to us.
Last thing, make sure I understood, did you say at the end that dog has been relocated somewhere else?
Yes, sir. That same day, I believe a child of theirs took the dog to another residence out in the county, or maybe still in the city limits, but away from the neighborhood. it was removed that same day. Animal control didn't take it, and it didn't go to the Humane Society. It was rehomed.
Have the owner of the deceased dog.
Yes, sir, Ms. Cross is here in the green shirt as
Okay.
well.
Ms. Cross, if you want to come up. I'll swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you'll state your name.
Omega Cross.
All right, if you want to tell us what happened.
Well, I was delivering for DoorDash. I got out of the car. My little dog got out of the car with me. He's my emotional support dog. And he was kind of in the yard sniffing around, trying to use the bathroom or whatever. And I'm going up to the yard. Across the street, a dog was barking, so I never paid attention to anything else at first. And then my dog started to bark. And I turned around. Mr. Beard's 2 dogs were coming at me. Well, Charlie, he was a teacup Yorkie, but he didn't know he was small. He was 2.7 pounds, but he was determined that he was going to protect me, and he got between me and his dog. I'm screaming and trying to get my dog. I don't know what to do. I couldn't get to Charlie fast enough before his dog picked him up. And he started to run off with him, and I was running behind him, and I'm screaming. And then he laid him down. They went back home. I never saw Mr. Beard outside at all. The garage door was open, and these 2 dogs run over in somebody else's yard. The yard that I was in, those people had children. They're in a neighborhood where somebody's child could have been riding a bike, anything down the road, and that dog could have went after them because they were coming at me. The brown dog kind of stood back. The gray one was more aggressive. He just snatched my little dog up and started to run. Then he just dropped him, and they went back in the garage, and I'm at these people's house holding my dog while he's dying. Mr. Beard never came out to say I'm sorry. He never came out to see what the screaming was about. He didn't come out of the house until the police got there. And the whole time I was there, he never said a word to me. So to me, that does not sound like a responsible dog owner. I was upset because they let the dog go to somebody else's house instead of taking it that day anyways. My charter is here. This is where my emotional support dog is, in this little bitty box. So what could he have done to protect himself? Nothing. Nothing. And he never apologized, never said a word to me. When I sat out of there and we waited for the police to get there, he come out, he talked to the police in the people's house that I was at. They met between the yards. I'm sitting right there. I would have not be so upset had he just came to me and said, I'm sorry, the garage door got opened, the dogs got out. Never said a word, never came out. The dogs ran back in the garage after attacking my dog. And I think the dogs being muzzled or whatever is not enough. It's not the dog's fault that the owner's not responsible. I don't think he should be allowed to keep those dogs. I know y'all may not be able to make that choice, but I don't think he's a responsible owner, and I don't think he deserves to have those dogs. Those dogs don't deserve to have an owner like him. And that's just how I feel about it. I'm upset about it. It's taken me forever to get myself together. I'm going to therapy now for that because I held my dog and watched the life go out of his eyes. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever went through anything traumatizing like that, but it's hard. And I don't think it's right that he can even keep his dogs. I mean, even if the dogs just go to somebody else, somebody responsible and somebody that's not in his family, I just think he should not be allowed to have those dogs. I don't see him being responsible enough to not let it happen again if my dog was the second dog attacked in the same month. Does that sound like responsibility to any of y'all? If you knew your dog attacked somebody before, another dog on a different street, then you should have been more cautious about your dog being out. You already had an ordinance on you saying that the dogs cannot be outside by themselves. And their dog came in somebody else's yard and killed my dog. It's not like my dog ran in their yard. And I never saw anybody come outside the whole time, not until the police got there. And I just wanted to come today and let you all know that's what happened before he gets up here and tell you something else, because he wasn't even outside. Thank you.
Baird? All right, I'll swear you all in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
If you'll state your name before you talk, and then you can go ahead.
My name is Vanetta Baird. This is Wayne Baird. This is Wayne Baird. That's here. On the day in question of this incident that had happened, first I wanted to say I did want it to go to her. The officer told me not to go to her and not to say anything to the lady. I did want to go over there. I did not know the incident had even happened. When I came over to my neighbor, I was like, what's going on? I did not even know it had happened. He was like, you didn't know, did you? No, I did not know. When I seen her, and I seen her upset and crying, and I asked the officer, well, is it okay to go over there? He told me, no, do not go over there. So it was not that I was not being inconsiderate of her feelings, because I wasn't. I'm a pet owner. I lost a dog. I understand how she felt, and I did want to go over there to her. But I just did what the officer told me, and I didn't go over there because I didn't want to. I guess he just didn't want the situation to get out of hand. Now, on the, I don't know how to even go back. Should I go back to the first one before I go to this one, or just talk about this one?
That's fine if you want to go back to the first one.
Okay, with the first incident, this dog that doesn't even live behind my house. He lives in the house that's next to my neighbor. He does not have a yard. He does nothing. This dog runs everywhere. He came up to my fence and kept tormenting my dogs. He goes there every day. I have it on video of this dog doing this. The owners are sitting on the porch and not getting this dog at all. We done talked to this owner several times, which my dog is in a fence, to come and get his dog off our fence, off the lady that's behind us where she lives. So it's not even on this property at all when it comes over to my house. My dog has never got out of that fence. And that dog just kept doing this every day. And like I said, we talked to this owner several times. And then I don't know what happened. Well, I guess he ended up digging or something and got out. And he did go towards this dog. I was not there. My husband was there when this incident had happened. I wasn't there.
And he ran him back to his property, and that's where he grabbed him. He didn't kill him, but he grabbed him and injured him.
Yeah, on his paw.
Yeah.
On his paw. And we apologized, but at the same time, we told him too, why aren't your dog on a leash? Why aren't your dog in a fence? I mean, he's constantly coming over here, and we done talked to you several times. My husband talked to, I'm assuming, this man, and told him about the incident and what was going on with that. He said we could cite him, which is fine. I mean, we worked it out with the neighbor and this and that. I concreted the whole bottom fence. I digged a trench, concreted it, probably how far up, Wayne?
It's about 4 inches, about like that.
From the ground. We concreted the whole back. They can't get out at all, just because of that incident. But at the same time, I still felt like you still need to be responsible for your dog as well, because you're still letting him run around in a neighbor's yard and coming towards my fence. And I'm still dealing with that today. So I'm sure I'm going to talk to him or somebody to get that taken care of as well on a property that's being rented by this owner. But on this situation, it is a freak accident. It was no intent. We was in the garage, and I didn't see him go around the car. We were all in there. I did not see him go around the garage, but it was not like I'm saying that I ignored this lady, because I did not hear it. And like I said, I came out only because I did see a cop come past. He was already back, and just nothing. He didn't have no reaction, my dog, nothing. So I didn't even know nothing had happened until I walked out there, and I went to my neighbor and I said, is everything okay? Did not even know what had happened with her or anything like that. All my neighbor told me is the Grubhub had a dog that she had got out of the car. The dog wasn't on no leash as well. And that it was, I can't say if it was on my property or not my property, or his property. He didn't catch it on a Ring camera, so I know it wasn't right beside her. I didn't catch it on my Ring camera. So I can't say exactly where it had happened. All I can do is, I guess, go by her word. I don't know. But once again, I am apologetic, and I am sorry for what happened to her dog. But, I mean, I just don't want her to think that I did not want to come over there to you. I did. But I just did what the officer told me to do. I had a dog that passed away. I understand. And I wanted to come over there and comfort you for that. And I did feel bad about that. I really did. And I mean, but I went by what the officer, maybe I should have went by what I felt, but I did what he told me to do.
It's Baird. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please speak into the microphone.
Oh, I just did what I thought, what he told me to do. So I didn't mean for nobody dog to die or anything like that. I love my dog, and he's not vicious towards no people at all. He's around my neighbors, the same neighbor that has kids. He's around my nephews and my nieces. He's not like that. Like I said, he could have scared her, and I can see that happen. But he's not like that. I mean, I have, like I said, I done this trench. I got him in my backyard. I'm outside with him to make sure nothing happened, and I don't want nothing to happen to him. This my son, he's the one that came, and he took him that day to his house.
I just want to add that even though I
Mr.
think
Baird.
we're responsible.
Mr. Baird, please.
I just want to add that I think we are very responsible for our animals. We take care of them very well, and I just think these two incidences seems like the owners wasn't taking care of their animals. Because if they were, they would have been on a leash. They would have been protected. My dog was on his property at the time. It's just like everything's coming towards us where it's like we got to do this and do that, but you can walk around with no leash, let him run around, do whatever he want to do. Let him go poop in other people's yard, run around, do whatever. But we don't want to get cited and fined. So I just don't think we're totally responsible for everything that's happened. I respect and take initiative on what happened, because, I mean, it could have been done different, but it happened, and we're sorry, but I just don't think we're totally at fault for everything that happened.
So now, where is the dog at currently?
My house.
And where do you live in relation to them?
I live, I live on the other side across from the bridge, going out towards Russellville Road. So a long way.
Dog have a fence or anything there, or how is the dog how is it being taken care of?
I'm currently getting a fence, but I just took the dog just to get him away from the situation until because he's not like that, so I just took him to my house, and now he's in my house, so I don't know. And we did pay the fine for the first dog.
Well, we paid his vet bill.
Yeah, his vet bill for him getting bit, and we already paid that for him and everything like that. I just wanted to state that too.
Dog be staying with you permanently, or is the dog at some point going to come back to you two?
Yeah,
Well, determines on what
it just
happens to this.
determines what goes on. I can keep him there or however y'all say. I just don't want none of my dog to be gone, taken away from us.
Maybe I missed it, but when the dog was at the house where this attack took place, where did the dog normally stay? I mean, no, not in your house, but in the main house where it was. Where did the dog stay at that time? Did it stay in the house?
It's normally in the house, and we let them out to go to the bathroom and do whatever, yeah.
I mean, how did the dog get into the garage with the garage door up?
The door to the garage was open,
In the house. And
from the house to the garage, and he came down the stairs. And like I said, he was right there. He was right there. I don't know, he went around my car, and that's when he came out towards her, is what had happened.
So Brad, just for clarification's sake, we're not determining what happens to the animal. We're just doing citation and fine on the incidents. Is that correct?
So a judge in district or circuit court has the authority under KRS to have an animal destroyed. This body does not. What this body has the authority to do is uphold the citation, which the way our city ordinance is written is that once an animal is deemed to be vicious, i.e. the citation is upheld, then the property must meet these requirements in order for the dog to continue to be housed there. So if it went to Mr. Baird's location, which is somewhere else, is that in the city limits, do you know? I can look it up if you...
265 Wendover Ave.
Yeah, if it's on Wendover, it's still in the city, because that whole Hillview Mills, Brighton, Wendover Avenue is in the city, so, I mean, it's annexed. But, so, the same requirements would apply, regardless of if the dog is on Wendover, or if the dog is on Fern Hill. Now, they have a start to the enclosure. They have added concrete, and I've stood with Mr. Baird in the backyard and verified that, and I have pictures of that. So they have concrete around the base of the fence, which is a good start. The ordinance, however, requires that there is, as you see here, the minimum dimensions of 5 foot by 10 foot, which it is, because it's the majority of the large backyard, and that it has to have a secure top. So that's where they're not in compliance with the ordinance currently. And Mr. Baird had kind of built a decorative fence around the patio area, and we were kind of talking about how that would be a perfect, if you just kind of extended that and put a top on top of that, they could walk the dog from the back door to that enclosure, but it has to either have a concrete ground or it has to have concrete around the bottom like he does, and it has to have a secure top. And so right now, without having the secure top, I explained to Mr. Baird that anytime the animal is outside, it has to have an adult on the other end of a leash, and it has to have a muzzle on. Anytime it's outside, whether it's going to the bathroom in the backyard or not, it has to be muzzled on a leash with an adult controlling the other side of the leash. So that would be the same on Wendover, until a fence is built, and it doesn't have to be a massive enclosure. It just has to be 5 by 10 with a roof and either concrete base or embedded 2 feet into the ground or concrete around the ground like they have. So the Fern Hill property is off to a good start, and we kind of talked about how they could certainly, add a top to it or a certain section that they could make that work, or Wendover. And then we are more than happy to come out and verify that the enclosure meets the ordinance, and then they can let the dog in the back without someone being out there all the time. But in the meantime, anytime it is not inside of a structure, it has to be on a leash with a muzzle.
So that was all a result of this September 11th, 2023 incident, right?
So that's the result of the citation that we wrote in March. So both of the citations that the officers wrote were then compiled onto this one city ordinance citation. So the two citations the officers wrote, had those gone in front of a judge, then the judge could have ordered the animal to be destroyed, or could have ordered a similar enclosure to this. This is based off KRS, so there are things in state law that require the same type of enclosure. So the judge would have kind of had that discretion, but since they sent it to us city ordinance-wise, once we wrote this citation, then it supposes that the animal is vicious and dangerous as soon as that citation is written. So it's kind of a compilation of the two, Because once one animal attacks another animal, both of these incidents, whether or not it killed the animal, it attacked another animal and caused injury. So both of those incidents that the police department responded to would qualify under city ordinance for this enclosure.
Really, but from the way you're making it sound, this protects the animal. This allows the animal a little more freedom, but it also protects the neighborhood and people around it, because otherwise the dog is coming out every single time with a muzzle and leashed. But this allows the dog freedom to move about as long as it has the prescribed measures. And
That's fair to say.
Okay. Okay.
When the dogs ran out of the garage, they had not, at that point, been deemed vicious?
That's correct. So because the first situation where there was minor injury was handled under the state citation and it had not gone in front of a judge yet, then that's correct. It had not been deemed vicious. Had it been on a city ordinance citation in the first place, then it would have. But that's correct to say, is because it was handled kind of the funky way that it was.
Questions? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but it's big enough, but it works.
Because there's
But-
fabric ones too, a lot of times that, don't hurt the dog or aren't as uncomfortable, but that's perfect. And then if it's on
And that's his, harness, and then that's gonna be where,
yeah, so anytime the dog is
And that's
outside,
the
it would just
picture.
need to have, yeah.
Other questions? I will make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $355.04.
Second that motion.
Dearbone and Harmon. Roll call?
Earbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
So citation and fine are upheld, but since you're already working with Brad, that should hopefully alleviate this problem, and then that way your animal can still be able to roam around in your yard, but without having to be muzzled up. So, thank you.
And yeah, so any other animal violations you see anywhere in the neighborhood, so if this other dog is coming up at any point, you need to call 393-4000. That's 24/7, anytime, day or night. It's It's 393-4000, 393-4000, and that's the number for dispatch. So 24/7, 365, call that number if it's 2 in the morning or noon or whatever. And either a police officer or an animal control officer will be dispatched as soon as they're available, and they'll come right out. And any other animal, we don't know Zeus from any other dog. So any dog that's doing the wrong thing, we're going to handle appropriately.
It's provoking them.
But we don't know unless someone calls us. So, call us whenever you see those things happening so we can handle it appropriately as well. Because we want all the animals to be safe. We don't want the other animals running loose and get hit by a car or attacked or attacking someone else just as much as we don't want yours or Miss Cross's animal hurt either.
I can.
And so this is recent because it's got the concrete there.
Yeah, and this is this dog
So
coming
this
up
is the
with here.
dog from right there at that house?
No, this
No,
house over here.
from that house over
This
there.
is not the
How
owner,
long
this
is this
house.
video? How long ago?
The 3rd
The 3rd of March.
March,
Okay. But it's an everyday thing?
yes. And we done talked to this owner already several times.
Okay. Is there any way you can text that to me if I give you my cell phone number?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be right now, just, anytime in the next day or so, and
Okay.
we'll deal with that appropriately. I appreciate you letting me know.
Well, excuse me, thank you all. We do not have any old business, so we will now move to new business. Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2024-14 is a code compliance case, case number 2023-3207 for the property located at 811 10th Avenue East. The property owner is Tina M. Hutchinson. This is a request for authorization to issue a second per-day fine citation, and the officer, Sonia Duderick, will present the case.
Case number 2023-3207 at 811 East 10th Avenue was a result of proactive inspection on 5/26/2023 by Officer Langlois. During the inspection, the following violations were observed: protective treatment, stairways, decks, porches, and balconies. He has sent a NOV to PBA listed owner with a compliance date of reinspection of 6/26/2023. The property was cited on 7/27/2023, 8/9/2023, and 8/24/2023. This case was presented to the board on November hearing with a request for first per day fine, which was authorized. On 12/1, a per day fine, 12/1/2023, a per day fine letter was mailed to PBA listed owner and an address. I inspected it on 12/13/2023. The property remained in violation. A per day fine citation was issued. A copy of citation was sent to PBA listed owner by certified and first class mail, as well as posted on the property. On 1/22/2024 and 2/12/2024, I reinspected the property, which remained in violation. As of today, the property remains in violation for chimneys, handrails, and guards, duty of maintenance, private property, accumulation of construction and demolition, and landscaping debris. The case has been open for 305 days, and all possible attempts have been exhausted to work with the property owner. These are the current today's pictures. The hole's still in the front porch balcony thing. The railing is missing. The chimney's still in disrepair. Actually, today when I was going up the steps were very slick as well. The back, so I talked to the owner yesterday, who stated that they went back and cleaned up some of the construction material, which fallen tree and other construction material and furniture that was back in the back of the property. When I went back today, they cleaned up, and I can see the railing for the front porch are now in the back of the property. It's now missing some siding over here that, with the tree gone, that I can see siding on the back of the property. She says she's working on getting it in compliance, but is having some rough time and cannot give me an exact date to when she will be able to get it in compliance.
Did she say initially why it's taken her so long to even get to this point?
I have a few other properties of hers, and I think she has too much on her plate.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second.
Armin LaPointe, roll call?
Beerbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Agenda item 2024-15 is a code compliance case, case number 2023-5419 for the property located at 1221 West Mead Drive. The owner is Ibarrero and Norma Ramirez. This is a request for authorization to issue a per-day fine citation, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
This case was a result of proactive inspection on 11/3/2023. During the initial inspection, the following violations were observed: parking in yards, accumulation of rubbish or garbage, tires on the property, exterior use or storage of indoor furniture, and grading and drainage. I sent an NOV to PVA listed owner and an address with a compliance reinspection date of 11/13 of 2023. If you can see where the vehicles were parking and driving through that area, there's grading issue. Over there by the little shed, there's some tires. There's tires on the other side of the building as well. We have a chair, indoor chair out front, some more tires, parking in the back of the yard on the grass. Is there any more pictures? That's it. Okay. On 11/14 and 11/27 of 2023, I re-inspected a property and remained in violation. I left a door hanger on the property. On 12/4/2023, re-inspected, and the property remained in violation. I called the property owner, Norma, who asked for another week to get the property in compliance. On 12/11, the property was re-inspected and it remained in violation with very little progress. I tried calling Norma and received a recording that her phone is not accepting any calls. On 12/18, I tried to call Norma again, received the same recording. On 12/19/2023, the property was re-inspected and remained in violation. A first citation was issued and posted on a property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to PVA listed owner. The re-inspection date is 12/29/2023. The following violations were observed. There were tires on the property, accumulation of rubbish or garbage, junk, scrap metal, grading and drainage, exterior use of or storage of indoor furniture, scattered garbage. If you can see, there's more stuff that was piled back on the side of the house and the back porch. On the same side of the house, the grading, where they're driving through the mud pile to get to the back of the property. This date, I did not see any vehicles parked on the grass. I did not cite for parking on the grass. On 1/4/2024, the property was re-inspected, remained in violation. A second citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to PVA listed owner. The re-inspection date on the citation was 11/16/2024. The following violation was added: standing or stagnant water due to them driving through that muddy area. On 1/20, there's where I posted a citation, the side of the house, the trash and tires and construction materials still there. We had that car out front parked in the grass. The chair that was in the front porch, that's the only thing that they have moved since the first citation. On 1/22/2024, re-inspected the property and remained in violation. A third citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner with the re-inspection date of 2/2/2024. There's no progress. The tires were still there on both ends of the property. The vehicles parked all the way in the back on the grass, the tires, all that construction material, garbage and trash by the side of the house. The property was re-inspected since that third citation on 2/2, 2/21, and 3/18 of this year, and remained in violation with no progress. The case has been open for 144 days, with all possible attempts to have been exhausted to work with the property owner to bring this property in compliance. As of today, the property remains in violation for tires outdoors, accumulation of rubbish or garbage, junk, scrap metal, grading and drainage, scattered garbage, standing or stagnant water. There's pictures from today, and there's no, where this white SUV's parked, it's gravel, but you can see there's no progress anywhere else. The tire's still there. They did move the truck from the back to the back concrete porch, but still driving through the grassy area to get to it.
I'll make a motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until compliant.
Second. LaPointe Gonzalez. Roll call.
Dearborn,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
Our next hearing will be on Tuesday, April 23rd. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Dearborn,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Herman, Lapointe.
Yes.